I particularly like this space actually, the Oxley Bank space, and walking up here. I don't get a chance to very often, not as much as I should, but it's a very quiet space and it feels very different to a lot of the rest of the park, which is bustly and lively, and sometimes it can be quite a spooky space, and in spring it's a really stunning space because it's covered with bluebells. And I was very keen this space shouldn't be dominated by an artwork because it would lose some of that magic. And so Hemali's intervention for me here is just a perfect combination of the landscape, nature and sculpture that the Sculpture Park aspires to do. I'm Helen Phoebe, curator here at Yorkshire Sculpture Park, and we're here on Oxley Bank with the new installation by Hemali Bhuta called Speed Breakers. Hemali came to us as a Creative India artist in residence, and we've got an ongoing relationship with Creative India, who were founded in 2010 to promote Indian culture, music, dance and art. Hemali's work particularly stood out to me because of her response to spaces. So we wanted somebody who would come here and really just contemplate the space and think about it, and also somebody who at a particular point in their career we felt would really benefit from this opportunity to take a bit of time out to spend time. I mean, she lives in Mumbai, so this is a completely different experience for her, and just to think, contemplate and then make proposals in response.
When I got in, I was a little intimidated by the space, I must confess, because I've been so comfortable in my own little studio, and since I have a background of an interior designer, so I've always worked in spaces which are within the four walls, you know.
She spent the first couple of days just kind of adjusting and spending time in Archway accommodation where she was based, and then gradually sort of came out with a backpack on and spent the days just walking around, getting to know the site and following familiar walks, but then also going off paths a bit and really getting a sense of the place.
When I got here, it was a very open space and too much for me to absorb. So initially I just spent a lot of time in my own room and did nothing actually. Just nothing. I just and I still continue to do that a lot of times when I just sort of behave like a hermit, you know, sitting in my own little bedroom, which is almost converted into a studio space. So I like it because it's my own little cave, and I just think that's a small intimate space for my contemplation.
So when Hemali first arrived, she was very excited. She was actually very excited about English weather, which I think we soon knocked out of her. It had been a particularly horrible wet summer.
I started moving out and taking a couple of walks just generally walking along the path in the park. Yeah. So all my proposals germinated and came about from there, from just walking.
She was very, very interested in the history of the estate, which has been established for at least 1,000 years, and particularly the fact that it was designed, you know, it's a man-made landscape, which some visitors are not aware of.
I just thought that these kind of liminal spaces, or spaces where you sort of are transitionary spaces where you just walk through, you know, are very important, and one has to just enjoy that to be able to enjoy nature. So I felt that it's just small little interventions that I needed to do.
In India there are certain folklore traditions around trees and forests, but she wanted to know what the English similar traditions were, and the fact that beech trees which surround us on Oxley Bank here were supposedly able to ward off snakes was something she was particularly interested in. I mean, it seems to work because there are none around. So
create these kind of roadside shrines which we have very commonly in India, where you just don't really, they just are all over on the streets and you don't really stop anywhere, you just keep going on with what your daily chores are, but they still exist, and so you always are aware of them.
Hemali was very keen to make very subtle interventions that just caught the eye rather than dominated a space. And so the piece here, Speed Breakers, is called that because it's intended that you could just walk over it, or you could just, it might just catch your eye and you realise there's something not quite right about it, it's not quite natural, it has been placed.
So it was interesting to do that walk along the side of the beech trees, and it's just the roots that were so very interesting to me, because they almost sort of are very shallow roots. They come up and go about inside, act as transmitters.
And something that in the 10, 11 years I've been here, I've been aware of but never really registered, are these really beautiful tree roots that as you walk through, they are part of the personality of this space. And through making her proposal, I suddenly realised, yeah, this suddenly came to consciousness how beautiful this structure is and how much a part of this personality of this space it is.
It just reminded me of the speed breakers that we have in India, and you just sort of stop by and you slow down. It's always about slowing down and just going ahead. So these acted as those, and I felt that was very interesting for me.
And she became very interested about Bronze Age settlements in Yorkshire, and the fact that under these layers and layers of history of this estate there could have been a Bronze Age settlement. So the fact that it's a bronze material is then reaching back into that.
And hence I thought I'd just make a work which was an extension of the roots that were already existing in bronze.
And it was very important to her that it was actually from the estate itself. So the tree roots that have been cast are from a beech tree on site, and we're surrounded by beech trees here. And the beech actually fell over naturally, and the technicians here dug out those roots. They were then sent for casting in Dorset. So it's the actual roots from the estate that have been cast and then returned to the site as a more permanent material, perhaps.
It's very much to do with the decay and of everything, and impermanence of life, of all actually that you see. So I mean, I just try to enjoy the beauty in all of that, and this is how I work.
Gradually over time the bronze patina will emerge, and it will seem more markedly different than at the moment, where it does very, very much integrate into the roots that are already here. It is a very subtle intervention, and she was very clear that it would be something that if people just walked over, they would just walk over, but then every now and then people would just realise.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have very many expectations when I came here, because that's when you achieve more, I think. Because when you think that you will want this, you never get that. So it's best you come with a blank mind, and you get a lot and you absorb a lot. When you go back again, it's the same thing. You don't take back anything consciously, but you're always taking back something, and that's what I like. I mean, it will always come back to me someday. It need not happen immediately, but
I mean, on a personal level, I'm just really pleased that this piece is here, because it's just a beautiful reminder of Hemali's time on site and the times we shared and her insights into the estate. She has a very considered sensitivity to spaces, and she was through her eyes I began to see the estate in a different way, and as she formed her relationship with it, it was really beautiful to see.